Okay, so, alright, so today I want to talk about channeling certain energies. Um, there's a show called Da Vinci's Demons, and I was always really attracted to that person, that character in the film, and um, there's something about the way he moved and the way he thought and the way, things just clicked. And, I watched this kind of a while ago. And what was interesting is that, what he figured out in watching that film, I immediately connect with. I immediately connect with the cosmos and, looking at one structure and seeing a bigger structure, a smaller structure, seeing that they're all the same, just from different perspectives. And when I went on this journey of mine, across the U.S., I realized that when I write things down, like in my books and stuff, I have like little diagrams and pictures, and like whenever I feel like I might lose my thought, I didn't realize it for a while, and I did the same things. It's almost like autism, you see them and they do these things, but I realized that like when I don't pay attention and I'm trying to like think of something to write down, I do the same thing. Um, and in that moment, I think I realized that like your hands, they have something to do with your brain structure, because they do it by the temporal lobes. It's like they do this, and it's like they're playing a piano in their mind or something. They play these keys. It's really warm. So there's something really interesting about that, because I did that intuitively without even thinking about it. And since I see so much of myself in that Da Vinci character, I was like, I wonder if that's what he really did, because a lot of his, that's like somebody in history that I immediately click with. And when I think of all the work that he does and the work that I've done without realizing that that's what he did, I was like, maybe that's what channeling really is. Maybe that's what channeling really is. It's like, I watch my videos and I see that I look a little different. Like, if you look at some of my beginning videos to now, it's like my face looks a little different, my hair looks different, my eyes, my mouth, like the way I move, my excitement, or it's like the location that I'm in, It's like I literally transform, and I've only been making videos for a little bit more than a month, and I can clearly see, if you look back at my other videos, you can clearly see that my actual face, the way I move, the way I talk, those things change so dramatically sometimes. Sometimes I go back and I watch it and I'm like, wow, I look totally different, And that's why I always like rewatch the video sometime after, because I'm like, wow, it's like a different timeline, or it's like a different, it's like, people freak out about shapeshifters and like reptilian forms, and like they stop, they'll show it like, oh, caught on tape, and they'll stop it, and then it kind of freaks people out, or it doesn't freak people out. Well, I was always so intrigued by that. In fact, that's one of the biggest things that got me going on this, because I was like, what is it about that? Because there is proof that when you stop it, in that motion, you see something different in their eyes. It's like almost always their eyes, their mouth, like the main things that we all look at. But I was like, okay, so they pick out the people that people tend to be repelled by. So I was like, well, I'm going to check that out with myself. I wonder if I do it. And sure enough, I do that. I can stop my video and I look at it, and my for that one split second, I notice something different about a tooth, or my eyes, or I'll see a certain light that changes on my skin, and I'm like, I think we all do that, and I think we only choose these people that tend to repel us because we're trying to find something negative. But I don't think it's negative at all. I think it's perfectly natural. I think that we are all shapeshifters, and because our eyes, the eyes, that's like the one thing that they always show on there is the eyes changing, and eyes went to the soul, and you can always tell when someone's excited. They don't even have to smile. You can see, like, their eyes get all super wide, and when someone's scared, it's like you can tell just by looking at their eyes. Like, even if they didn't have eyebrows, I think you'd know. You just know. And if you couldn't see it, you can always feel it. You can always feel pressure, or like there's not enough circulation, or you can sense it, and it's like, uh, I think we just concentrate too much on one figure because we see something negative in it. But when I stopped and I looked at myself and I realized that I also have those same properties, I realized that it's totally natural. I think we all have all of these lifelines, both past, present, and future. And we're now, our technology is getting so great that we can literally see it now. We can actually see it, and they have like older videos too where it came out and people can see it. And it makes me wonder if our eyesight is getting better as well. Maybe that's the reason why I see the things that I do, is because it's like a frequency movement. It's like you're literally moving into another retinal frequency, something about brainwaves and connecting the body to that. That's probably why I had so much trouble there for a while, is because my brain was simply moving so quick that my body was having a hard time circulating, you know what I mean? Because whenever I left Connecticut, because I've gone on a lot of road trips now in the past 3 months, whenever I left Connecticut and I came back, I could literally feel right here, like right here, and I think I talk about it in another video. It was like, I don't know, it was like an atmosphere change, an atmospheric pressure change. Like, when your ears pop, it's like, sometimes my ears pop when I'm just running on flat ground. And it's like, what atmospheric change happened if I'm not actually going up in elevation? Or am I? Is it a body elevation? Is it the heart? Is it the breathing? I mean, these things happen whether or not you actually, go to another location. So it always makes me wonder what's actually happening. Also, another thing I want to talk about is chemicals. As a kid, I took a lot of baths. Man, baths were the best. I took like 4 or 5 hour baths. My mom would get kind of upset I'd spend so much time in there, but that was like the one time I could just, like, well, not the one time. I was constantly like playing and stuff, like imagination, and I would always put too many chemicals in the bathtub. Well, not too many, but I enjoyed that there was, like, a lot of different bottles, a lot of different colors, and it was like a scientist. I would like pour some in and pour some in and mix it all around the tub, and then I would get like a cup and I would put a whole bunch of the mixtures together, and then I would use like the little, the little trolls with the funny hair and the jewel in the center. Well, some of them didn't have jewels. But I would like play with those, and then I would pretend that it was like a swamp or something, and like, what I mean? Like, we just play around. But like, I loved the bubbles. There was something about the bubbles that changed. It was like this oil, right? So I would like mix it all up, and then, I would kind of like get it really, like, get a good lather going, and then I would kind of like open this up just enough, and then I would blow through it, and it would create a bubble, and then I would just kind of pinch it off, and then I would kind of grab it with this hand, and then I would kind of go like this so that I could hold the bubble, and then I would connect it, and I would like disconnect them or try to put them back together. And it was like, I actually revisited this moment. I don't know if I talked about it in another video. I actually revisited the bubbles, the bubbles moment, like a month ago. And this time I looked a little more closely, because yes, I love it as a kid, but I'm like, why did I love it so much? So I looked at it, and I realized that when you tilt it a certain way in the light, it's like oil. You can see it like, you can see the colors like swirl and move and stuff. And, I was like, I wonder what happens when you add wind, right? So I like blew on it very carefully, and it was like energy distribution all over the place. And I was like, wow. I don't know if I noticed that as a kid, But I'm really glad that I revisited that, because I don't think I realized just what I was doing, you know? It was amazing what wind can do. And we see that in rocks, you know? It's like wind, water, erosion. It moves, it molds, it shapes things. I think there's something really interesting about that. But anyways, getting back to chemicals. So, as a kid, oops, sorry about that, moving it back. You know, I used a lot of chemicals, and I sat in it for hours, right? And I felt fine. I felt totally fine. And I'm talking like everything you got. Shampoos, conditioners, whatever my ma had stacked up in there. I even got lotion. Like, I didn't even care. It was just like chemical galore. But I never worried about it. So I was a kid, and I just saw viscosity. I saw colors. I saw textures. That was it, you know? And I never really worried about it. So I guess what I wanted to really talk about is the fact that we seem to worry about chemicals a lot. We worry about chemicals in our food. We worry about pesticides. We worry about, you know, all these things, chemtrails. We worry about these things. We worry about them being in our body, outside of our body. We worry about a lot. We worry about a lot about that. And I think what I realized is that I was submerged in so many chemicals as a kid, and I was fine. I was hyper and happy and playful and in tune with nature and, you know, sensitive, and I was strong, and, you know, I was like this little twig of a thing, but there was nothing I couldn't do, you know? I felt like I could do anything. I never worried about it. It was never a problem. I'm not sure if it ever was a problem until recently. And I kind of feel like, you know, maybe people pushed it out so much that we didn't realize that maybe chemicals are something that our system needs to, you know, have a frequency that's high enough to move through the cosmos. You know, because we're like spiraling through with our little train of planets. You know, we're moving through like a train through the cosmos, and we got to realize that we're moving through different frequencies. And if people, this is my own thought, you know, I'm just throwing it out there, but it's like, you know, people are rejecting certain chemicals that, you know, have been here, and it's for a reason, you know. And instead of looking at it as in a negative way, I feel like there's a lot of positivity in it, because I never worried about it as a kid, and I've always had like this super high frequency, like retarded amounts of energy that I like almost could never expend enough, you know what I mean? And that's probably why I feel so in tune and so, you know, I can move through different frequencies and I can feel what's going on. I'm very aware of what I'm feeling for a reason. And, you know, if we're spiraling through the cosmos and we're hitting different frequencies, you know, maybe the reason why they're doing chemtrails is because people are starting to reject frequencies that they need. And I know we can just look at it as chemicals, like it shouldn't be in our system, but what we got to realize is that maybe we do need that. Maybe we reject too many frequencies. You know, I eat donuts and I drink coffee, and I love taking so many showers and just bathing in chemicals. And I feel amazing. You know, I feel like it's about perspective. You know, I'm not saying it works for everyone's system. What I'm saying is that, you know, it's all in how you think about it. You know, and I think that everything happens for a reason. And instead of, you know, pushing it out and saying they're hurting us, you know, it might be because we're trying to push out the things that we need the most to move into a different frequency. It's not separate. We have chemicals all the time. There's bacteria in our system all the time. You know, there's so many things that are always around all the time. We see crop circles. That's clearly energy, magnetic energy. You know, it's a frequency. It's a picture that's created by nature, and it's so detailed and extraterrestrial. And whenever I think of chemicals and I think of connecting with that, it always makes me think of my star family, of an extraterrestrial family that I'm just aware of. I just know it. I don't know how I know it, but I've always known it, you know, and you know, imagination or not, it's just something I have never let go of. I have just always known it. So the fact that I associate that with them is for a reason. So I guess what I'm saying is that instead of trying to push everything out, try to remember what works for you. And if you're not sure, then just try it. You know, I don't really know how to say it for everyone. I just know that what works for me. And I know that, you know, I see a lot of positivity in these things. And just by doing that, and by listening to what tastes really good to me, and what, whether you're drinking or you're eating, what feels really good, you know, what feels really good to you, whatever that is, that's your frequency. You know, and I never worried about eating junk food or worrying about chemicals, and you know, maybe that's what makes this transition a little both difficult and easy, because I was trying to push these chemicals out. But now that I've come back to my normal self and realized, well, I like these things. Why do I fear it? Why does society fear eating things that, taste good? There's a reason why your system doesn't think something tastes good, because maybe that's not the frequency you need. So instead of, thinking of one thing, try to remember that your taste buds, your system knows best. Um, maybe that's the reason for, certain weight distribution and energy distribution, is because we try to push out all the things that we love to eat. We push out all the things that taste really, really good. So I'm not saying you gotta, like, not eat certain things. I just mean it's really important to listen to, like, pictures in your mind. When you picture something that you want to eat, or if you get a craving, there might be a frequency. There might be something in that particular food that your system is lacking in that moment, or it might be something that you need. So instead of pushing it out, maybe just try it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to talk about for now. Thanks for watching.